Welcome to PlayStation News, Rumours and Leaks. When was the last time you played a game on your PS5 and thought, damn, wish my controller had a longer battery life? Answers down below in the comment section please, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. Today in the video we'll be discussing Cyberpunk and a comment made by the team at CD Projekt Red. They kind of go on to say if you think Cyberpunk 2077 was good, then you haven't seen anything yet. And that's according to CD Projekt Red. It's about their new project, codenamed Project Orion, which sounds really exciting. We'll have a quick look at that. Does anyone else remember a little fantastic game called Turok? It came out many years ago in the 90s on the Nintendo 64. If you liked Turok, or Turok, then you'll be interested in what I have to say about that a little later on in the video. And we also have news on what appears to be a leaked new PS5 controller. And one final question, guys. Does anyone know what the fourth worst reviewed game of 2023 was? Have a think about it, and I'll tell you a little later on why that's important. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. As I mentioned at the start of the video, you find it frustrating playing a game on your PlayStation and then you get a low battery level warning or your controller just dies on you, which now means you're tethered to either your TV or your PlayStation. You've got to keep that cable plugged in, or your controller dies, or you've got to stop playing and leave your controller on charge and come back later. Well, luckily I don't have this issue. I've got two controllers, so I'll just put the one that's down, get it charged, and I'll pick up my fully charged controller and continue my gaming session. Why am I talking about controllers? Well, according to a listing on Best Buy in Canada, Sony is looking to release an upgraded version of the PS5 DualSense controller with a greatly improved battery life over the existing model, and this is quite significant in terms of the battery life. The retailer lists the new PlayStation controller as the PS5 version 2 DualSense controller, and while the description mentions all of the things you get to expect from the current version and all the bells and whistles, it also claims that this upgrade includes exceptional 12-hour battery life. This is obviously a lot more than the 3 to 6 hours offered by the existing DualSense, which will vary depending on the game you're playing. The version 2 DualSense controller is listed at $89.99 Canadian dollars and also includes a charging station for easy click-in charging, with the dimensions of the box appearing to be smaller than the existing model. Sony hasn't announced anything about an updated version of the DualSense controller, so treat this as a rumor for now until we have official confirmation from Sony PlayStation. My guess is if they announce this as an upgraded new controller, it might show it off at the rumoured State of Play happening over the next few weeks. Let's move on. If you release a game like Cyberpunk 2077, would you consider yourself top tier? Would you consider yourself the best of the best, the bee's knees? Would you consider yourself as a team of developers that have achieved something fantastic with a game like Cyberpunk, which may not be topped for a very long time? Perhaps you do. It might have taken CD Projekt Red 3 years after Cyberpunk 2077's launch to fix and complete the game after the shambolic launch on console, but it now appears that the players are basking in the glory of what is now considered to be another CD Projekt Red masterpiece. Now, as CDPR turns its attention to the upcoming Cyberpunk 2077 sequel, codenamed Project Orion, the narrative director Igor Saryansky is getting players excited about what's next. Saryansky took to Twitter to say that Cyberpunk 2077 was just a warm-up for what's to come in Project Orion. As he and the rest of the CD Projekt Red team kick off the production, he goes on to say, "First day back in the Boston office. So good to meet old friends and officially kickstart our Orion journey. I couldn't be more excited for this project, and I'm sure we can make it something special. 2077 was just a warm-up. On one hand, it can almost be a bit devaluing to call what was once the most important game in CD Projekt Red's portfolio for more than over a decade a warm-up. You can't really call it a warm-up. However, players arguably couldn't be blamed for feeling shortchanged, especially on a console launch that, let's be honest, was pretty poor, especially after players had been waiting for a decade for that game. The console launch was awful. On the other hand, Cyberpunk 2077 is now one of the best RPGs on the market, and if the same energy from Phantom Liberty DLC goes into the new project, Project Orion, then a warm-up is exactly how the original game will be reviewed once Orion launches. Hopefully, Szynski is right on this one. What are your thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077? Why is it every time I go to play Cyberpunk, I get around 30 minutes into the game and I feel like turning it off? Does anyone else have the same feeling? I'm not knocking the game. I think it looks great. It feels great. The atmosphere in the game, for the bit that I'm in, the very beginning of the game, it looks good. It feels good. Graphics are good. But I just don't know. I don't know what it is. Perhaps it's the thought of this game being much longer than I'm typically used to. I've heard people saying they've spent hundreds of hours in this game. I don't know, how long does it take? You tell me how long it takes to complete this game, but the thought of that puts me off, right? Or maybe it's I'm not a huge RPG fan. Maybe that's the reason. I don't spend a lot of time playing RPGs. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me why you like the game. Tell me what was good about the game in terms of the gameplay or the story. I want to try to get into it. I do want to experience this game. I want to give it another chance. I want to try my best to get into it. I think on the horizon, we've got a few games coming out over the next couple of months, right? Rise of the Ronin, Helldivers, the remaster of The Last of Us. So I'm guessing I've got those games to play. I don't want to be stuck playing a game that's going to take 60, 70 hours. So I think maybe that's part of it, but I certainly want to give it another try. But if you've played this game, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Let me know why it's good. Why do you think I should try it? What made you play the game? Why do you enjoy it? Just give me an idea. Give me a flavor for what the game's like. According to the CD Projekt Red team, it's going to be a lot better than the first one. So I'm intrigued, because by the time this game comes out, I don't think it will come out for at least another 7 or 8 years. CDPR, they're working on Witcher 4, right? That probably won't come out for another 2 to 3 years. So 2027, 2028, something like that. Let's say at the most, let's say it's 4 years. That's 2028 from now, give or take. I think we're talking at least 3, maybe 4 years from when Witcher 4 comes out. This Project Orion will land. So that could be well into 3031, 3032. Who knows? It's going to be a long time, guys. Yeah, it's going to be a long time. So do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and let's move on. So as I mentioned at the start, do we have any fans of Turok here? Turok was a kind of dinosaur hunter game which came out many, many years ago on the Nintendo 64. I think it came out in 1997. The reason why I mentioned Turok is because Team Kill Media is making a PS5 exclusive game called Sun and Bone, which has taken its inspiration from the original Nintendo 64 game Turok. The game will be releasing this year, apparently in 2024. Now, some people may be getting all excited about this, but hang on. There is a plot twist. Let me explain. So do you remember a game called Quantum Error, which released last year? If you're not already aware of Quantum Error, it was a horror firefighting game that gave Lord of the Rings Gollum a run for its money for being the worst game released in 2023. Quantum Error was the 4th worst game reviewed in 2023, or the 4th worst reviewed game of 2023, and that's according to Metacritic. Not that, you should take what they say as gospel, but it was a poor game. The game struggled with broken gameplay, lacking story, which only kind of scratched the surface of the issues within the game. And despite all of that, thanks to all of their pre-orders, Team Kill Media made their money back. At least they broke even. They never made a loss. And as a result of not making a loss, that's allowed them to start a new project. And that project is the sequel. The sequel. They're making a number 2 to Quantum Error. That one can only hopefully be better than the original, which for some reason there is skepticism when we look at the dev team behind this new PS5 exclusive Sun and Bone. So I understand where the skepticism comes in from. The game is supposed to be a boomer shooter that definitely seems to take inspiration from Turok. It's also very different from the Quantum Error style of game. So it's possibly worth giving Team Media the benefit of the doubt. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if Sun and Bone does release later this year and is equally criticized for having the same mistakes or similar kind of mistakes around gameplay and story, then I think there's going to be a problem. That'll be 2 games in a row, Quantum Error and this new Sun and Bone game, criticized for very similar things. Did anyone here play Quantum Error? I'd like to know what you thought of the game if you did play it. Leave your thoughts down below. Let me have a read of your comments. I'm very interested to know if you did play it. I don't always like to leave it to Metacritic or any of the review sites. So when the game hits PlayStation Plus or drops into sale, I may pick it up and give it a blast and make up my own mind about the game. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you do me a favor whilst you're here, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks video.